I'm gonna cut the fluff and tell you guys literally how I 100x my income in the last 5 years. Now, I know when you hear these claims, you're probably gonna think, oh, he's full of shit. He's got something to sell me, this, that, and the other. But look, I'm just gonna tell you my truth, my story, my experiences, my lessons learned. And look, if it benefits you, then great, you can apply it to your life as well. You know, I know these lessons have not only worked for myself, but they've worked for so many other people that I've told these to as well. I've seen the real life proof. But what lessons you might be thinking? Well, this is where I want to start talking to you about like the true art of having a thought in your head and materializing that. Now, a lot of people in the community, in this personal development growth space, they call it like manifestation, right? And when you hear that, it does sound a little bit cringy, it does sound a little bit cliche, but like I want you to understand the real power of this. And there's actually a science to getting rich. There's a science to being able to start making more money and literally being able to 100x your income. Now, I don't want to sit here and tell you this is an easy journey, all right? Like, it's not something that's going to be easy. You know, you have to be willing to sacrifice a lot. Now, when I say sacrifice, like what do I mean by sacrifice? So, you know, when I first got started in this journey, right, my main focus was learning, right? I put my all into education. So, you know, I stopped going out with my friends. You know, I cut off going out with girls. I cut off playing games. You know, I sold my Xbox to buy my first course. Right? And since then, I've spent tens of thousands of pounds on education, and I don't regret it because it's made me hundreds. So when I'm talking about like education, now obviously there's a lot of courses out there that are going to be pretty much bullshit. And there's obviously a lot of stuff that's good that's free as well. But for me in my journey, I felt like when I was using like free information, yes, it was good, but there was like there was a gap between me where I am now and getting to that next level. Because when I wasn't really paying that much attention. It's like, look, this video here, you're not paying for it. So I bet you're not sitting there taking notes to your hand bleed. But I bet if you paid £5,000 for this conversation now, you'd be sitting there, you'd be listening to every word on the edge of your seat. Same conversation, same information, but it's a different perspective from your mind, which will affect, obviously, the results you're going to get. Why would that affect the results you get? Because of your level of focus and your level of attention. So when it comes to like being able to 10x your income, 100x your income, or just start making more money, the first thing you have to do is seek the right information. And when it comes to information, you have to get your information from the right people. And how you know they're the right people is, number one, are they living the life you want to live? You know, I remember when I first started learning to trade, I was learning off people who were still working jobs, who are still living at home, right? Who are still in the same country, who haven't left the country in 5 years. So it's like, how can you teach me how to travel the world? How can you teach me how to be a full-time trader when A, you work a job, and B, you're still at home? Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it's just like, you wouldn't go up to a fat person in the gym and ask them for advice, would you, on how to lose weight? Yeah, they may have the theory, but there's a big difference between theory and actual experience and wisdom from someone who's gone and done the thing you want to do. So go and find someone who's done the thing you want to do. Now, there's a few different takes on this, like in terms of finding those people. You can either, like, some people will say, okay, go and find one person, you know, subscribe to everything they do and follow them to a T. I believe in that, right, when it comes to trading specifically for a trading strategy, right? Because you don't want to be learning from a million people for trading. I think for trading, like in terms of your strategy, you should have one strategy. But in terms of like, you know, developing yourself, developing your mindset, bro, I'm a sponge. I learn from so many different sources who are credible, who have the results I want. You know, whether that's reading books, listening to audios, paying to be mentored by someone, paying for seminars, flying across the world. Like, you know, one of my first big like personal development steps in my journey for trading and just my overall life was when I paid over £5,000 and I had to fly out to Miami for a 2-day in-person seminar. Like, I literally got to a point where my bank account hit zero. I had to get a credit card loan to actually get the flights out there, all right? And when I was out there, bro, I didn't even have money to fucking eat, bro. Like, I didn't even have money to get a taxi. I was walking 4 hours, but I was willing to sacrifice to get to that next level. You know, I was willing to walk 4+ hours to, you know, in going from Fort Lauderdale to Miami to get that information. So, like, when it comes to, like, obviously trying to level up, yeah, when it comes to your trading, yes, you want to find one strategy of one person and just follow them. But when it comes to, like, growing your mind, because, like, to quote unquote get success or start leveling up your income, there's a lot of internal work you have to do. You know, the world is literally a mirror. So what you experience on the outside world is a direct reflection of what's going on in the inside world. So when you want to, like, so I guess the best example is this. We will only achieve what we see that we can achieve in our minds. Like if you don't subconsciously believe that you can start making 10K a month, 20K a month, 40K a month, 50, whatever, you will never be able to get to that point. Because what we have in our heads, in our subconscious, is like an internal thermostat. Just like in your house, right? If your baseline, if your base temperature is set at 30 degrees, if it gets too cold, what's going to happen? You're going to heat back up. If it gets too hot, it's going to cool back down. That's the same thing with your income, right? Right now, you've got an income and a self-image that you believe you're worth. So by starting to listen to other people and get new ideas from people that have the results, what you can begin to do is change the information that comes into your brain so that now you can change your outlook on life and your outlook on yourself. Because when you begin to change that outlook on yourself, what's going to happen is your standards are going to raise. That minimum baseline is going to raise. So let's say, for example, you have a minimum baseline of £1,000 in your account. Like for me, my baseline was £400 a month. So when I had £400 in my account, that was like, cool, I'm good, this is where I'm at. And then what would happen is I'd go and start spending more money. And if I'd spend more money and my account dropped to, let's say, 300, I would now start getting like, fuck, oh, I need to spend less money now because I'm not at my baseline. So I would then save, maybe find other ways to make income. And obviously my money would go back up. Now it would, let's say I would get paid next month, it would be sitting at £800 or 700 if we're doing the maths. That wasn't my baseline. My baseline was 400. So I would then start subconsciously sabotaging myself to bring myself back down to that baseline. And by spending more and doing stupid things. Now, obviously there's a difference between spending and investing, right? I think you should go broke investing, but you shouldn't go broke spending. And like, that's a big difference between the quote unquote rich and the poor, is that rich people, when they get money, right, we want to keep it, we want to multiply it, we want to grow it, we want to invest it into education, things that are going to make us better. Whereas poor people, they want to buy things that they can consume. They want to go and buy alcohol, they want to go and buy the latest designer, buy all this to impress other people that they don't even like. You know, they want to get money. When they get money, when poor people get money, they want to give it away. They want to spend it. Whereas when rich people get money, they want to grow it and multiply it. Now, obviously, don't get me wrong, giving away to charity and like, this is a big part as well, because the energy you put out there is what you're going to get back. Like if you're like, so for me, I think that at least 5 to 10% of what you make should be given away, and that will come back tenfold. Like it's called the law of attraction. If you don't know what that is, it basically states that how the people, places, circumstances, and events you experience all come from the energetic vibration that you're on. So when I say energetic vibration, it sounds complicated, but it's really not. Basically, think of it like a radio station. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, like a radio station. If you're on frequency 100, you're going to listen to maybe some classical music. You go to frequency 102, you're going to start listening to some rock music. 103, some hip hop music. And these frequencies, just like a radio station, happens in our lives. And by the thoughts, well, the dominant thoughts we think, that becomes the frequency we're on. So, and this also ties into your self-image and how you see yourself. This all dictates the frequency you're on, this radio station you're on. So if you're thinking the same thoughts like, oh, I'll never be able to be successful, or you're thinking about negative things all the time and things you don't want to happen because you're wondering, why all these bad things happen to me? Why can't I catch a break? Fuck, why do all these people, you know, why do people leave me? Why do I get in arguments all the time? Or blah, blah, blah. That's because you put yourself on that vibration. Your self-image is of that person who attracts those situations. So from a scientific perspective, because you're on that vibration, other things that have an energetic match will attract into your life from people, places, circumstances, and events. So before you want to start getting successful in the material world, you have to actually start being successful from within. And I know it sounds so cliche, but like, this is what I did. Like, I had to start learning. Well, I started learning about the law of attraction. And this was at a time where I wasn't really trading. I wasn't trading at all. I didn't even know trading was a thing, right? And I was at a point in my life where, you know, I did a whole video about my journey, but I was kind of attracting loads of negative scenarios into my life. I was getting into fights, having arguments all the time, getting in trouble with the police, you know, just terrible relationships, like loads of shit was going on. And that was until I come across the law of attraction, which states, like we said earlier, you attract the people, places, circumstances, and events. Now, the law of attraction is a secondary law. There's a lot of other laws that are more important than that, such as the law of vibration, which I explained to you anyway, which is like, you know, you only attract the same things you're vibing on, because everything is a vibration. Me and you right now, we're on the same vibration. That's why you're here, you're listening to this and watching this video. Now, anyway, right? So when I was kind of at that point where I was attracting loads of negative things, I didn't understand why. Why was all these things happening to me? I had that victim mindset. I didn't realize that I was the conscious creator of my reality until I started learning about the law of attraction. Right? This is why I tattooed a tree on my hand, because shout XXX and Tashion, you know, whatever. You can watch his interviews on the law of attraction and the laws of the universe. But when I started to study the 12 laws of the universe, this is the key. I studied the 12 laws of the universe. That's how I fucking 100x my income, from studying the laws of the universe. Because just like the law of gravity, right? We don't believe in the law of gravity, right? We all can agree, whether if you believe gravity doesn't exist, it's a fact. It's irrelevant what you believe, because if we don't believe gravity exists and I let go of this phone, it's gonna drop. Ow. But it's irrelevant what we believe, it's always happening, because it's a fundamental law of the universe. Just like the law of attraction, it's a fundamental law of the universe, the law of divine oneness, the law of transmutation. There's so many other laws that are so important you have to study. That's a sign, right? That's a sign right there. So when you start to become conscious of your own thoughts, right, and you start to become a creator of your life, and you become the creator rather than the creation, right, that's a big thing there. All right, are you responding to the world or reacting to the world? Are you going out there putting your creations out to the universe, or is the universe happening to you? And again, this is because I wasn't aware on how to create my reality. And the first thing you need to do is start from within. You have to get your mind right. What are you consuming on a day-to-day basis? What are you seeing? What are you viewing? Who are you surrounding yourself with? What is your environment, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. If you're with fucking 5 bakers, bro, you're going to learn a thing or two about bread. If you're with 5 smokers, you're going to be a 6th smoker. So what I'm saying is this, right? The first thing is you have to control your environment. So when I say your environment, don't be a dickhead and don't, you know, like obviously be rude to people, but stop spending time with certain people, right? Go for a season of separation. Cut yourself off from, not from the well, but from certain people who don't fit your future lifestyle. The problem is the people that are in our lifestyle now, we feel comfortable with them, and we don't want to feel uncomfortable when we go around high level individuals. You know, the first time I ever sat down with a 6-figure earner, a 7-figure earner, an 8-figure earner, I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable because I didn't know the things they were talking about. I felt like a shitty person because I was at the time. I had nothing of value to offer. But that was okay because I was learning. And that's why I was trying to always get into those rooms, getting around these people. And you do that by offering them value. What you put out is what you get back. What value can you offer them? Now, anyway, right, by changing your environment, the people you surround yourself with, again, these are the things that will affect your vibration, energy you're on, and the things that will come into your life. Also, right, obviously, all right, the people you surround yourself with, the things you see, right? What are you seeing on a day-to-day basis? You know, I grew up in a 1-bedroom flat in Southeast London, Peckham. I wasn't seeing success. So what I had to do is I had to create an environment for success. Whether that was, you know, creating vision boards. Now, obviously, you have to do the hard work. Don't think you can sit here and do this fairy tale stuff, but this is the foundation first, and then you can do all the hard work. Like, this is not a cop-out for hard work. Like, you have to fucking grind. You have to work hard. It's not going to happen overnight. But using these things makes it easier, puts the odds in your favor. So environment, right? What are you seeing all the time? You know, I never saw success. So what did I start doing? I started going to these fancy places, these fancy hotels, started going to the Harrods, started going to the BMW dealerships. Bro, I remember I went to the BMW dealership, had about 120 quid in my bank account. But you know what? They didn't know that. So what did I do? I went in there, had some smart clothes on with supreme confidence. Hello, I'd like to see a BMW. Right, I went in there, sat in the BMW. That's your senses, right? See, touch, taste, hear, smell, and feel. I had to see the BMW. I had to smell the new leather. Right, I had to, bro, I licked the fucking steering wheel, cuz. The guy's like, sir, please don't lick the steering wheel. I was like, oh, sorry. But, right, yeah, so you have to smell that new leather. You have to envision it with your eye because your mind thinks in pictures, right? If you think of your mum right now, are you seeing the letters M-O-M or M-U-M? Or are you seeing the image of your mum in your mind? You're seeing the image. Your brain thinks in pictures. Your brain, right? Now, close your eyes again. All right, imagine it's a hot day and you've got this big juicy lemon and you're squeezing this lemon into your mouth, right? You feel that lemon juice in your mouth. You're probably starting to salivate. Your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So you have to create these things in your life. You have to begin to envision these things physically. Like, what is it like driving that car? Where would you be going? Who'd be in the passenger seat? Right? Everything I'm living now, it all began in my mind. Yo, the screen you're watching me on right now, that was an idea in someone's mind and they brought it to life. They manifested it. So Right, you have to see, touch, taste, feel, and hear these things. What are you hearing on a day-to-day basis? Who are you listening to? Are you listening to music that's talking about drugs, sex, and violence all this time? Or are you listening to personal development audios? Most of the time when I'm in the gym, listen, I ain't listening to music. I'm listening to personal development audios. Jim Rohn, everyone knows Chris Brown, but why does no one know Les Brown? You know what I'm saying? Right? No one's listening to the Holton Bugs, right? No one's listening to all these great personal development individuals. What are you feeding your mind on a day-to-day basis? And what happens is now, once you start to get your environment right, you start to experience these good things, it starts to slowly change your vibration. Because what happens is all energy, right? You're starting to put better energy into your life. And you only attract what you are, not what you want. Right? You attract what you are, not what you want. So if you want these better things to happen to you, you have to become better first. So what I started to do, I started to surround myself. I covered every square inch of my bedroom walls. I lived with my parents with, you know, Brian Tracy's 10 Keys to Personal Power, right? 12 Laws of the Universe, right? 48 Laws of Power, my trading plan, Wyckoff schematics, everything, everywhere. So I could see it everywhere, right? And now, that's not it, right? You don't just do that and expect to be rich. No, you have to fucking work hard. You have to get the right information. But it all starts with your mind first. Because if you can't master your mind first, you're never going to be able to master this material world. So from there, right, once I started to change my vibration, started to change my energy from changing my environment, and that started to alter my thought patterns. Every time I was thinking a negative thought, I had to reprogram my mind. So I would say to myself, cancel, 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 3 times in my head. And that would force me to redirect my thoughts onto something called gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. Every day, practice what you're grateful for. Even if situations are happening that you don't like and they're negative, how can you be grateful for that? You know, it's all perspective. Everything is going to happen to make you better. So when you have an obstacle, you can sit there and be like, oh, fuck, I just lost this trade. Fuck's sake, I just blew his account. Or, wait a minute, this is teaching me a lesson that I can use to get better. Thank you, universe. Now you're in a higher vibration. Why do you think the rich always get richer? Because it's a spiral. It's spiral dynamics. They go higher and higher and higher whilst you're going lower and lower and lower, because it's like the snowball effect. And you can create that momentum, but it all starts with your thoughts. What are you thinking about? Right? If you're starting a new project, are you thinking, oh, this is going to go great for me, I'm going to kill it, I'm the best? Or are you thinking, oh, I don't know if this is going to go well, oh, I don't know. You got to have that confidence. And I know it can be hard, but that's why you have to start reprogramming your mind. It's all your programming, right? It's like a computer or your phone. If you don't update your software on your phone's going to be slow, it's going to be out of date, you're going to have viruses, etc. You got to update that phone, you got to update the software. And you do that by getting the right information. Who are you surrounding yourself by? Who are you listening to on a day-to-day basis? Do they have the results you want? If they do, cool, you can listen to them. But also when people don't have the results you want, you can listen to them to find out what not to do. But anyway, right, back to kind of the original point. I got quite excited there. Once I started to kind of get this new information, change my environment, I started to change my vibration. I then started to attract new people, places, circumstances, and events into my life. And because I had that goal, and that's another thing, you gotta have one goal, one main target. You can't be shooting for all these, all this goal there, that goal there, this goal there. No, right? You need to have one goal. Why do you think a bullet is so deadly? Because all its force is concentrated into one point. You gotta have one goal and then follow that course until you're successful. And now by creating that environment, having all this positive energy around you, right? Now, obviously, don't get into that spiritual side and think, oh, everything always has to be rainbows and sunshines. Of course, there will be negative situations. There will be trials. There will be tribulations, because God gives his strongest because God always gives his strongest warriors the toughest battles. So when you're destined for greatness, you will be tested. The universe is going to say, do you really fucking want this? Do you really want to quit your job? Do you really want to start traveling around the world? And it's then going to see how bad you want it. From there, you got to have an unruling work ethic. What are you willing to give up? Bro, for 3 years, I did, bro, for a couple, literally, I think it's like 2-3 years, I went talking to no girls, I went on the clubbing scene, I went playing my games, I sold my fucking game to buy my first I sold my fucking game to literally buy my first course. So, what are you willing to give up, right? If you're sitting around smoking, sitting around people smoking weed in the park all day, bro, you ain't gonna be fucking successful talking about it. Go and do it, right? Plan out your days from the hour from literally the night before, minute by minute, have your entire day planned out. Okay, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. either or all that bullshit. Bro, I made my first 6 figures waking up at fucking 11 a.m. in the morning. Like, you don't need to do all that bullshit, but you have to be efficient with your time and be effective, right? So plan out your days the night before. I have an alarm on my phone every day that tells me to plan out my day in the morning. I'll go on my notes, I'll spend 5 minutes and just say, right, cool, I'm waking up at X time. Cool, it'll take me 15 minutes to eat breakfast. It'll take me 5 minutes to brush my teeth, 10 minutes to shower. Okay, it'll take me an hour to go to the gym, 10 minutes to eat when I get back. You know what I mean? I'll plan it out. And then, right, I'll write a to-do list. And based on that to-do list, what is the number one thing on that list that has the highest priority? It has a high priority because if I focus on that one thing, that will produce me the best results that the most important to my goal. And then I'll literally prioritize doing that one thing. So based on that schedule, that's the thing I'm going to time in. I'm going to plan it out. Like, if you're working a job, what are you using your lunch breaks for? I was willing to sacrifice these things. Now, obviously, I'm not saying go and quit your job, right? Because you need to have nest egg. You need to have another income to support you. But like, I was always grinding. I was obsessed with this, bro. Now, I'll plan it. You know, my lunch break, I won't be sitting talking to my coworkers. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk to you. You're broke, in the nicest way. I didn't say that, but that was what I thought. I wanted to sit there instead of listening to fucking Bob talk about, bruv, what sandwich you're eating. I don't care, Bob, what sandwich you're eating, bruv. I want to listen to a millionaire on my phone tell me how to get fucking rich so I can be in places like this and not listening to you. You know what I mean? So, like, plan it out, bro. Like, when I was on my breaks, bro, I was always trading. I was always watching courses. I was always listening to different audios. I always had headphones in. I was brainwashing myself. It was total immersion. But there you are, sitting there for an hour a day thinking you're going to get rich. Come on, bro. Be real with yourself. If you want to be, right, at the highest version, best version of yourself, you have to work, bro. You got to do things you've never done. Now, do you have to, do 20-hour work days? No. But you have to be consistent. You have to plan out a schedule. So I know obviously people got families, people got, working 9-hour days. I was working 12-hour days, but I still made time. You don't find time, you create time by planning it out, right? Don't sit there and tell me, oh, I don't have time when you're sitting on TikTok for 3 hours a day. Check your screen time, right? Plan these things out, but also plan in downtime, right? Like, I plan in downtime. For me, I have one day of the week at least where I'll do fuck all, nothing. Right? Every Saturday, that's where I do nothing business related. My phone's off, I'm going out, I'm traveling, I'm spending time with my family, I'm doing the things I want to do. Obviously, you can create other downtime for yourself, whether that's in the evening, even for 30 minutes or an hour, you want to slap on Netflix, cool. But have you earned it? Right? Have you earned it? And this is where you also have to start to change your thinking from when you're working and when you're grinding, change your focus from results-based thinking to process-based thinking. So instead of focusing on, oh, what result am I getting? What result am I getting? Focus on doing the right actions for a consistent period of time over a long enough time horizon. Because the problem is sometimes it's not that we're doing the wrong things. Sometimes we just haven't done enough of the right things. For example, if we flipped a coin and it landed on heads 5 times, we ain't going to go and say that coin is dominated by heads. We're going to say, well, we know it's 50-50. We just need to increase the sample size and do more of it. So sometimes you're doing the right thing, it's just you haven't done enough of it just yet. It's like, for example, I remember one of my students in my mentorship, we think in sample sizes. He took 20 trades, he lost 19 trades. So I was like, bro, listen, we reviewed it. And obviously this way you have to review as well, because pain plus reflection equals progress. You have to periodically review what you're doing. So we looked at those 20 trades. Turns out the actions he was taking were completely wrong. They were terrible trades because they didn't meet the plan. But this is where the people in your environment comes in, because he didn't know that until I sat down and spoke to him and told him that. Did another sample size, bang, finished his account with 3% profit. Same thing again and again and again, and now he's a funded trader. So what I'm saying is this, right? You have to work hard, of course, but focus on doing the right process, because once you're doing the right actions, the right results will come. And like, bro, reading, obviously don't get me wrong, like you have to grow your mind, you have to get the right information, but you got to focus on the things that will produce you the right results as well. It's a mixture. You can't just sit there and read books all day and expect to get rich, and you can't just sit there and do 100% action without learning and expect to get rich. You have to do both, right? You have to, that's what I did, right? I just found a balance between all of it. Right, it's starting to get quite foggy and misty over here, so we are going to have to call this video for a day soon. Otherwise, I don't want to just have a long video with terrible quality. So let me summarize this for you guys. When it comes to you and your journey, and when it comes to wanting to 10x your income, 100x it, whatever, right? Change your environment. Who you surround yourself with, who you listen to, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis. Make sure you're getting the right information. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. Right? Make sure you're listening to the right information. Make sure you're doing the work, but journaling, reflecting on that work. And I promise you, if you give yourself a long enough time horizon, you start listening to and paying attention to law of attraction. Like, that is one of the biggest things that's responsible for my success. That. If it wasn't for that, I would not be anywhere I am today. I wouldn't have met the connections I've made. I wouldn't have made the income. Look, that's it. Laws of the universe. Go study the 12 laws of the universe and thank me once you change your life.